Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, once again to Victory Road Unite Clash number 8. Can you believe it? Featuring GG Tour. I am Dr. Kendo, the Pokemon Master Kendo YouTube channel, and I'm here with Kanashi. What's going on, Kanashi? You ready for this grand finals?
Yeah, I'm ready to see these two Titans go ahead and face off against each other. Once again, we have Los del Segundo A versus Garsagose in our grand finals. One thing that I want to point out here, we have Froy picking the Zeraora. Once again, another Pokemon that we don't get to see that often, but is actually a pretty solid pick as we're about to get into this. Just because it has the ability to close out really well, and especially against something like Rizzotti right there, who we have there for the Duraludon. It is going to be super quick if you're able to get in before they happen to, or immediately after they use their Dragon Pulse. You can deal a ton of damage, and they can't really run away from that.
And so I've actually featured Froy on my channel before, and it was actually Zeraora, I believe, was what he was using at the time. And so this is something I personally like to see. We're going back to some early days of Froy, back when he was WJ Froy, I believe. And so right here, we're going to see, of course, he'll tackle the top lane. That's the question, you know, is like, hey, we do have Duraludon on our team. It was probably the more solid option, right, Kanashi, that their Duraludon player for Los del Segundo A did end up going jungle, so they're in that central area, and Froy running this top path. But it could have been variable, right? Could either one have done that?
Yeah, it's a good switch overall. I feel like giving your levels to the Duraludon is really important, especially when you're trying to go ahead and get to level 5, get to your first ability, and that does change the way how you play it. As you see, Froy's going to go down, not after taking a Citrus Berry, at least. Getting a little bit of a consolation prize, if you would call it that. But they had the right idea going into it, and I hope that we can get Arceus up to the level that they need to be here.
Very nice. That's what we're looking at as the bees just get bursted down that Combee and Vespiquen, and we're noticing Hoopa going to take out this Jigglypuff on the bottom lane here, bottom path, and so they are going to be able to, with that, kind of open up Segundo A to score in just some of these. You know, it's fine. It's like 16 is maybe one of the more higher point values, but smaller point values generally because we're still early on in this matchup. And so looking at 30-4, still pretty even, but you're noticing Pikachu in a lot of trouble, and that's going to be Pikachu for Pikachu trading blood, as now Slowbro then goes down on the bottom path. And we're going to be looking at the Combee and Vespiquen coming up, but that's not till 7:20, so enough time for them to come back here and try to capitalize on some of that experience.
Yeah, they are just trying to get whatever they can. Once again, just farming up, playing it nice and slow, and getting their levels ready for that initial Dreadnought. But the thing that we have to keep in mind here is what is the level difference currently between the two Duraludons? Because once you start getting into that level 8, level 9 territory, especially towards Dreadnought, it is going to be important to see if they can get whatever they can out of it, or if it's going to just be, you know, a revolving ruin giving you enough space to do whatever you need to do. So,
and so certainly without that score shield there, that Duraludon was interrupted for Garsagose, but they actually are able to score that in right now. So this is looking like we're seeing a lot of these kind of 30, 20, these points trade off, and then you're going to dump in some 5s here and there. And so that keeps this a very close match, as we like to see, of course. Hoopa is going to go ahead, and we are going to confirm for Garsagose. I'm just making sure I have their name right. But anyway, Hoopa will hyperspace hole on that goal, bring everybody down here. And so as they're coming downstairs, it looks like we're going to trade some KOs. The Unite moves are going to fly. Garsagose really losing a lot of life, though, overall. We are going to see, though, it's mostly a trade-off. You know, they're pretty much 2 for 2, right, Kanashi?
yeah, for the most part, but you do see how quickly Froy was able to rotate down to bottom, and it's just the rotation coming out from Los del Segundo A. They were just ready for that. Garsagose ended up losing their Wigglytuff quite early, and they're going to lose it again here. And unfortunately for them, like, the Sing is not getting as much as they need to get out of this fight. So Los del Segundo A is just applying a ton of pressure, not giving them any space to work with, and possibly trying to break this down later.
That's right. I like that you pointed out the Wigglytuff, because that's a little bit painful to lose some of your bulk right there on the bottom. You know, when you're looking at Segundo A, they've got the Slowbro. It's like you've got that tanky character down, and so Garsagose, we've discussed how Wigglytuff can kind of serve as that, like, tanky support and everything like that, and It's just when you compare it to Slowbro, I mean, you see the tankiness of Slowbro. This Rotom obviously has to walk back to the middle as it was disrupted, but it did actually go to Garsagose, so they will pick that up. Put on some pressure here on the top path here, which they could use to maybe take the score in their favor instead.
Yeah, trying to maybe find a quick pick and utilize the pressure that the Rotom is going to give, but it is going to get bursted down quite quickly. You do see where Froy is. He does go for a hop on there. There's the Plasma Gale, going to be able to get that bounty for himself. Continuing on forward, looking at even more members of Garsagose if they can. The Wild Charge not really connecting onto anybody, trying to get out of there. It's going to drop, but not after taking quite a ton of damage off of their opponents there. They're leaving this goal down here at 3. I don't know if they're gonna try to do what they did a couple games ago, where they only try to score top, try to break as much top as possible, and then leave that bottom goal for the final stretch, utilizing the the 100 dunks and trying to make it as close as possible, or if it's gonna be something else as well.
And that's what we're going to figure out, ladies and gentlemen, as we now see that I think the fight is obviously going to be taken back down to this top path because we have Dreadnought there, but notice who was staying up top. That's going to be for Los del Segundo A, Froy, sticking with it, but we're actually noticing, of course, just after being able to score in, teleport down here, make it down pretty quickly, and Dreadnought is bursted down pretty quickly. And yeah, that will go for Segundo. I was just wondering, did they perhaps get a steal over there for Garsagose? But no, it was definitely stacked in the favor of purple here, so they're going to make that assault on the bottom lane.
Yeah, they're going to dunk that 40, make sure that they overdunk as much as possible as they continue on with the pressure. You do see the Sing coming out, going to catch onto Leica, followed by the Revolving Ruin, trying to deal even more damage to Dragon Pulse. Going to be able to catch out the last two here as Los del Segundo A is having to retreat. Going to try to back out here, but Texas surviving. Just trying to stall up, maybe get... Oh my god, that recovery, damn. He's just recovering so much HP. This Amnesia in the Surf, just because of the way how Oblivious is working right now, it's just doing so well for him.
And so with that Amnesia, you notice that he did score in that 1 point. And that was significant. Even if you don't have Amnesia like Slowbro, the one thing that you're doing right there is you do get like a small little bit of health that has actually been nerfed over time, the amount of health that you get from scoring even, any amount of points. But to get that one, it's going to go in quickly. No one can contest you for that. But also then it allowed his Amnesia to come off of cooldown a little bit. So then able to pull off another Amnesia. Ultimately did fall, but that was just kind of a mastery play in Slowbro and lasting power, right? And so Garsagose right now looking to burst this thing down up here, the Rotom up top, but we are seeing there are a few purples in the midst, but nope, that will actually be secured once again for Garsagose.
Yeah, and they're trying to get that pressure moving for Garsagose, trying to get that top lane down because they already took bottom. They know that they're a little bit behind, so they want to just burst down as much as possible and maybe even extend their lead as much as possible. So Los del Segundo A is already rotating down to this final Dreadnought. Go ahead and take that, trying to get their levels and experience up even further. So we'll see how this plays out, especially going into this final stretch pretty soon.
And that's the thing that we're going to be looking at. We do have actually Froy focusing in on that bottom, the very, very bottom of the bottom path right there where Dreadnought is. That there isn't a skirmish that we can observe right here, though, that is occurring. And it looks like left side team, with the help of Froy, really, I think it's credit to him entirely, to be honest. But Froy will go ahead and secure that for the team. So this is looking good because Los del Segundo A were able to kind of hold Garsagose at bay if they were thinking about maybe getting that last Dreadnought. And there wasn't a whole lot of time for a solo, Dreadnought objective to go on. But they did make it happen. And as that Zero Aura, that can happen. This is where those Unite moves are going to fly, of course, because we're seeing the teams go right at each other right here. That's going to be the Rings Unbound. You saw of course, the Revolving Ruin, and now another Revolving Ruin. The pain is just being doled out for both of these teams, but it's looking like actually now that team wipe on Garsagose will lead to Segundo A picking up that Zapdos. Very well done.
Yeah, they were able to secure that down. They had a really interesting fight, just being able to focus down who they need to. And you see Froy, he's just saying, "Somebody score already, please. I just want to score." But he's getting bullied out here. He might not be able to get there. He does actually, surprisingly. He was waiting on his teammates, just creating enough space for that. But another 400-point deficit that Garsagose has to climb out of. if they are going to try to take this game away. Once again, grand finals are best of 5, so we do have a couple extra games to be played here. But Los del Segundo A did really well after securing that Dreadnought, just being able to understand who do we need to focus in this fight, who do we need, and how do we take everything going your way. So really good on them for that awareness, and now it's all up to Garsagose to make this potentially close.
And of course, that's the key word, right, is potentially close, because it would be really, you know, last time that I called this, it went the opposite direction, but this really is more of an uphill battle than even that. I mean, you're going to notice some KO trades and things right here. Doing pretty good at taking down Los Segundo, but like you're seeing this right now, the team is pretty much going to get wiped. So yeah, we can confidently call it right here. I did just want to say, as kind of like a production note that I didn't give at the beginning, if you're not authorized to upload this, like please don't upload this to any of your socials or whatever, you know, just unless you're an authorized user. And what a wonderful way to start our grand finals, I would say, as Segundo A shows us that they came to play.
Yeah, they're definitely taking us to class, teaching us exactly what we need to know about the way how this team operates. It's either we have these core pieces that work. They know that the Hoopa, they know that they want to use the Hoopa, they know that they want to use the Duraludon. Rima's been pretty good on this Pikachu, utilizing all of that space as well. And Texas just being able to survive majority of the time with this like Slowpoke pick. And then, you know, and then there's Froy, who's just like,
yeah,
what is the flavor of the month? What do I feel like playing right now? He's the one out here with the spin wheel, like, all right, well, we did Blastoise, we did Machamp. He's trying to fill out his entire, you know, Pokemon Unite bingo sheet. As we see him, you know, pick up the Zeraora this game, and it did a lot of work for them, actually. Just, you know, iframes, having to deal with, you know, being invincible for certain points of the game, going early game against the Lucario that they had. It's just really good play overall, and Froy is just putting on kind of a display of the repertoire that he does have.
I totally echo what Kanashi is saying, I would think, because, you know, you're looking at it represented even in all these stats too, and Texas, once again, just I have to marvel at that Slowbro lasting power. I mean, look at that damage taken and the recovered. It's playing Slowbro exactly how it should be, so wonderful. So that's going to put them 6-18 as the victors there to a score of 240. Right now for Garsagose. And so, you know, the question always is, overplayed at this point, but like, what do they do? What does Garsagose to do to try to turn this around? And can they adapt to this? You know, how much do they need to change? Sometimes it's little things and sometimes it's big things. And so in this case, though, what will make that a little bit more difficult, I would say, is going to be our boy Froy right there. You got to love to see it, because Froy could pull out something completely different this time. So when you're thinking like I'm gonna counter the Zeraora, well, he may not even pick Zeraora this next time. So Kanashi, your guess is as good as mine, of course, on that. Just to make sure that this is not a jarring experience for viewers, we do like to sometimes point out that they will switch sides. So, you know, when you think Los Segundo A being part of the purple squad last game, they're now going to move to orange. So just in case, you know, we need to point that out and everything. But yeah, much love to everybody out there. The heat is on for game number 2.
Yeah, Garsagose this time going to also opt in for the Pikachu. It is going to be interesting to see how they're going to try to get that crowd control down, besides only utilizing the Wigglytuff here. Froy is still, you know, spinning the wheel, trying to figure out what he wants to play. But everything else is still really standard. You know, Arceus on the Duraludon, Rima on the Pikachu. Froy is he's just showing us everything today. He's like, okay, well, if you're not gonna do it, I'm gonna pull out the hat and the Garchomp, the very important pick overall. So this is going to be really interesting overall. You know, you see how long Tex was able to survive in those last couple games. I see how, you know, Garsagose wants to go about this. This is a very standard comp that they have been running, but we have to try to find another like way to get in, and you know, once again, it's still element of surprise having to deal with the Garchomp now, but we'll see how the teams are going to play in and respond to these certain picks.
And so, certainly, as we've been hyping up Los del Segundo A, you don't want to forget that we were also, in the early part of the tournament, hyping up Garsagose's Duraludon, which is played by Reso, I believe is the name. But anyway, R-E-S-O. And so this player, certainly knows the way around Duraludon, definitely has the lay of the land for that, deals a lot of damage, and so, definitely don't count that team out. We're here in this grand finals, and we want to see something close happen. Early KO right here. Gonna try to stop that Gibble, maybe stop some of that momentum before it becomes that, massive Garchomp, I was gonna say, but, it's more just dangerous, the juggernaut of Garchomp.
Yeah, having to deal with something like, we saw the pressure that Cynthia gives you during the end of the game. Oh, man. Arky is just making sure that the range of the Dragon Pulse is going to be there to get that KO, making sure that there are no cracks in that seam either. But yeah, really good pressure coming out from both sides this time. Trying not to let the Garchomp snowball into what they need to become by trying to shut that down as soon as possible, and they get another KO on it. So I don't know if this is the indicator later, if Arceus wants to give that away. Doesn't seem to be the case. He's actually going to go down, though, dealing a ton of damage, utilizing the hyperspace hole to come back and then go back in. So this is going to be really interesting to see, like, the pressure that Garsagose is starting to apply. It shows that they are learning how to adapt and adjust to Los del Segundo A here.
And actually, the word I was looking for was menace. I wasn't looking for the word massive. It was another M word. It was the menace of Garchomp. And so, as you pointed out, it's like we're kind of putting it on crutches a little bit by taking it down early. But you notice that still, even despite that, Froy is staying in line in levels with a lot of the other members of their team. Now, notice, of course, going to point back to Garsagose. When we talk about levels, look at that level 8 Duraludon right here. It is matched by a level 7 Duraludon from Segundo A, but, don't count out that Duraludon player is kind of just the main point of all of that. It's like that's what we're kind of keeping our eyes on right now, and what's going to happen between that gameplay. So hyperspace hole on the goal right here for Garsagose. Gonna see if we transfer people up and down. 720Bs coming up, and then Dread.
Yeah, they're starting that off. The sync is not going to be enough to get a KO, but they are going to return that with the Dragon Pulse onto the Slowbro. So Texas is going to be going down. But the rest of Garsagose is starting to figure out a way how to get the pressure down and out for them. Looking at Froy next, trying to possibly bring him down, but the Lucario is getting very low here. Might not even go for it and just allow, Garchomp, Froy to just go ahead and farm up for a bit. We do see the revolving runes going out towards the Dreadnoughts, trying to set up the next fight. And it's going to go towards Los del Segundo A. They definitely needed that experience for the Garchomp. But the sleep trying to collapse onto Arceus. Can he get away? Does step right outside of the Dragon Pulse, but unfortunately Rima not so much. Going to be catching the end of that damage as well. They're going to dunk with exactly 40 just to break that goal, make sure that they don't have that recovery moving forward.
So that's precisely what it's about, is try to stop them every step of the game here, but definitely looking towards that end game. Garsagose knows what happened with that Zapdos, and in the last game we should specify. Los del Segundo A, though, picking up this Rotom's got to feel pretty nice, especially if you can rush over these 40 points right here, and that's going to open up a nice window, even without the Rotom, unless Reso can come in, which he probably could, because that, Dragon Pulse has a nice wide range if you don't have that Score Shield, but no, they will successfully overdunk on that, so that's going to be a plus 40 right here. Looking very nice, and Reso in trouble as well, so he goes down. And so just like that, Los del Segundo picking this up, turning up the dial, right? Yeah,
and turning up the heat. You could already hear Cynthia's pianos going off right now as the Garchomp is starting to get even bigger here. It might be a problem, especially if you let it farm for so long. It's already level 11, which is on pace as the mid lane jungler for Garsagose. So he is getting the experience that he needs. He has those levels, and now it's just a matter of where is Froy going to go with this Garchomp, and who is going to be the next victim.
You think about, a player like, we can consider Toon. Toon got W from Gaming Gladiators. Somebody who can play with the full arsenal. It's kind of like a multi-tool of Pokemon is how I've described it before. But anybody that can competently play so many different picks is definitely somebody to watch out for in my books. And so Froy definitely proving that so. Did TP back to base, going to try to come down here in time for the Dreadnought fight, which has pretty much already transpired. Even before it was down on the map, those Unite moves were flying. CC getting burst down, 10% health, and then it's just out of there. And that was actually one of those that just became came so close. Yeah, so it was actually Garsagose that took it and then lost several of their members afterwards. But ladies and gentlemen, it was probably good for them to secure that. They need any kind of like pressure to be put on Los del Segundo A, who's just getting that momentum that we're seeing. Look at this. Are you kidding me? 233, and then you're noticing Froy just in the face of unbeatable odds oftentimes, then backed up by his team to punish that, to make sure, you know, say, hey, if you're going to take out our King Garchomp, we're going to make sure that you two go down as well.
Yeah, the level disparity right now, Los del Segundo A just has this level advantage going their way. And every single time that they are able to just chill, you know, take more and more farm away, either from their side or the opponent's side, it's just going to work out even more for them. So Garsagose has got to figure out a way how to get more experience, either through finding individual picks or by trying to capitalize and maybe even scoring a couple times.
Right, so they'll pick up the Rotom to just try to keep people off of their tails, right? You know, it's like, hey, now you have to contend with this over at that top path goal, but looks like Froy was kind of easily able to take that down as a Garchomp can, and then that Lucario is just on the run for Garsagose. Gonna try to close combat here and then see, like, can we get some backup, you know, and so the rest of the team will come on. That's, you know, when you have those numbers, I think it's safe to say that Garchomp will finally fall, but it's very evident, as Kanashi noted, the levels, but also just this Garchomp, you let it get out of control like that, which they did certainly try to stop early game, and it is the menace. That was the word I was trying to look for in my hunger. I'm not gonna lie, ladies and gentlemen, I you know, missing lunch right now, so that's why my brain kind of turned off right there.
Yeah, food is equally as important, but they all need boba here in order to get a couple dunks going their way. Yeah. They are going to lose the Wigglytuff quite early, so no form of crowd control coming out for Garsagose when they're trying to take this last fight here. So you see Los del Segundo A just instantly focus down the Dreadnought, get that going in their favor, and now they're going to start rotating around and trying to find things to go ahead and pick off as soon as possible. It is going to be interesting to see how these teams are going to face off against each other. Once again, Garsagose had a pretty solid start. It's just a matter of levels now. So the team fight for Los del Segundo A just looks really strong, but Garsagose just need to get a couple more levels going their way, and then this game could be literally anyone's.
I think that's the key, because this zap is going to change it all up. If Los del Segundo A don't get this, it's going to be quite the uphill fight after that. If, you know, Garsagose needs to score those all in, and so this team fight is going to come down to everything you've seen up until the match so far. You know, who got those levels? This is very apparent as you see who's dropping like flies. Now Garsagose, a team wipe. Quickly, Los del Segundo A just disgusting in the best way possible. Look at this. So they're going to be able to, I mean, we may even see a surrender here. This is looking like at 130. This team is solid. So that orange squad going to drop in those hundos.
Yeah, that's going to be the cause, the FF, the GG, the surrender, yeah, whatever you want to call it, coming out from the side of Garsagose. So Los del Segundo A is like, they're playing something that punishes the squishiness of the team, and really the main thing that they're doing is punishing Wigglytuff first. They realize that Wigglytuff wants to initiate the fights with Sing, so being able to stop the Sing early is really important for the team, and the fact that they're able to understand that, take out the one thing that is going to hold them in place, going to CC, going to, you know, stop them from being able to play the game for a second. They understand that. As you see the amount of damage that is literally taken by the Wigglytuff, it is like that is their number one priority. Their number one priority is to just KO the Wiggly as quickly as possible and allow them to deal that damage later down the line.
I certainly like how you pointed that out. You know, that's a mechanic that I think a lot of people need to look at here with this team. Like we said, Rezo was kind of the one to keep toe-to-toe by levels, and certainly was the one wearing the crown there for Garsagose, but you know, even with all that damage and just everything that a Duraludon can pull off, and certainly many people in our chat are looking like they want a Duraludon nerf and everything, but that Duraludon, no matter how strong it was not able to turn the tides, you know, there. And so great job again to Los del Segundo A. I've got one of those kind of like possibly cringe, but possibly funny or just spot on comments to make. I know that we all love those, but you know what that Segundo, the A, you know what the A stands for possibly? the Avengers, because this team, like the Avengers, they look at Froy like the Hulk. It's just, and Hulk, smash. That's his.
Yeah.
He just goes on that, like, let him off on that rampage. You've probably got everybody, like, doing their role, right? You have Hawkeye as that, like, sniper up there on the roof. Everybody has their, like, specific task, and they team up, and, they're the Avengers, essentially. And so Segundo A, is that what the A stands for?
Yeah, A is for Avengers, and whenever they get Leica, they summon Doctor Strange, they pull out the Avengers Endgame at the very end. Just let everybody show up and wail on the rest of the team. So we have to, Froy is just doing his own thing once again. But everyone else still very standard, very stapled, very, what they're running. And Garsagose still running the same exact lineup. There's no changes coming through. It's really interesting to see that the Hoopa is still staying on the X attack. I understand that it does have like a way of getting out and stuff like that, but Froy is going to be pulling out the Greedent this time. So okay, now you have to think about like what type of Greedent is this? It does have the slow smoke. It might be I want to say this could be a potential like JP meta Greedent, where it just goes into the enemy jungle and is a menace over there, not allowing Duraludon to really do what it wants. But we don't know what the rollout is yet, and we're about to find out as we're going into our possibly last match here at the Victory Road Unite Clash number 8, once again between Los del Segundo A and Garsagose.
And just to reiterate, they have switched sides, and of course that final production note, just to say, please don't re-upload this to your channels if you're not an authorized user to do so. That Greedent, that's the exact analysis, and I'll tell you, Kanashi, was just like when I called Aegislash that one time that Game and Gladiators were goofing off and stuff. I wanted to tell you that I was hoping to see a Greedent from Froy earlier. I just didn't ever get those words out and stuff to say it. But trust me, everybody, it was in my mind. I was thinking, can Froy just be that really annoying Greedent, And so maybe when you look at the Japanese meta, he's not exactly making the beeline, of course, for their central area and stealing that jungle early on. But hey, maybe he'll get an A-Palm or two here. It's tough to tell because obviously, I think Garsagose was a little bit wise to him maybe trying to do this.
Yeah, if anything, what Froy is doing is just eating up even more time and allowing the rest of the team to farm up and get what they need to get. So, good on Froy right now, just to be annoying, like maybe assist a couple of things here and there, but we'll definitely have to keep tabs on how well Froy is doing, and almost dying there, but how well they can survive during these certain fights.
Yeah, it's a little bit tough when you're that Squavid right now. You can make some things happen, but obviously looking for that Greedent play. And so we're getting dang close, though, because you can see the top lane, though, they did want to answer to that. And so they are actually going to take him out before that evolution takes place. And so when you think about Garsagose, like, okay, we did run that 2-1-2 in previous games. We're now just kind of turning this mostly into like a 3-2, 3-0-2 almost. We never have to say 0 for the jungle usually, but this time it's almost like that Duraludon really just was kind of pulling full-time top lane duties. But you notice, of course, what's happening there on the mini-map. They will trade blow for blow right there, Duraludon, but Los del Segundo A did at least try to use their own Duraludon, to try to say, hey, maybe we can steal some of this jungle as well. And so, taking that Greedent roll on perhaps, because we do see Greedent here on screen ready to do its thing.
Yeah, and it's trying to eat up as much of the jungle, take away as much of the experience and Aeos energy that it can, as Rezo just continuing on with the pressure. That's the thing that I was saying. You see how well they hop in there, going to be focusing down the Duraludon. So now for Garsagose, the target priority is really good for them right now. They're going to try to TP out. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to come back with full HP, get ready to try to take on the Pikachu, take on Rima, try to get her out of the fight. But we have to see if they rotate down, get into position, and get ready for this Dreadnought, because those are all going to be important.
You definitely want to keep on the pressure of your Los del Segundo. I mean, anybody does, of course, but the reason that we mentioned that specifically is just, you don't want to fall too far behind and rest on those victory laurels, as I said before and stuff. You might have those wins, you might be dominating in certain cases, but here, this is a knockdown, drag-out fight for that Dreadnought that really does look to favor Garsagose, who will end up getting that. So, like I say, you don't want to fall victim to this being too comfortable, let's say. they'll go ahead and dunk in a lot of this. Probably going to break that bottom goal. It does look like it, yes.
Yeah, they're going to apply that pressure early, trying to get whatever they can. And yeah, now you see the levels going in the favor of Garsagose. They just, like, not only is it because of the Dreadnought, but also because of the way how they're playing. They're playing together. They have that pressure and they have that damage. The Wigglytuff going to be popping Starlight Recital, going back in for the Sing to possibly hold back as many players as possible. You see the Dragon Breath going through. It's Dragon Pulse, my bad, going through, getting a couple more picks, and Garsagose trying to turn it around, but Rima with the ultimate, trying to get through the Unite move. Another Electro Ball. Thunder still alive, gives him another Electro Ball, just saying get back into the hole. There you go, 4 KOs for Rima, and an amazing turnaround, going from defending your goal, being on the back foot, to really turning that around and, you know, securing some space for your team.
Rima, you are a monster, and it's just the best way possible that you could say that. I mean, that was just wonderful. Turning that all around, getting that triple KO and the massive, like, 40, and then already having her pockets full once again. So, look at this. We're going to see a berry belly flop go down right here. Going to cause some havoc, get some belches going on, and yeah, that will clear out that top path. So now, looks like they have some time to just kind of say, hey, let's overdunk this. Got the score shield on, of course, as that Greedent. Nothing's going to stop you there. There's a nice 40 dunked in, and then also some progress on the bottom path as well.
Yeah, and the Covet going to be able to get that as well. So they may have stopped Froy early game, but now that Froy is kind of doing its own thing, eating up space, making it really difficult for the team to really get what they want out of it, it is working out in their favor. You do see the Electro Ball once again trying to burst down the Wigglytuff, because that is a huge play for them. Leica trying to bring back everybody into this fight. And the Aura Cannon coming out from Garsagose. You do see the Revolving Ruin coming out from Los del Segundo A. Just trying to create some space, make them not able to collapse here onto the Dreadnought, as it is going to go towards Los del Segundo A. And the fight is still going on. They're still looking at even more. Garsagose trying to return this back. We do have the Starlight Recital looking at the Duraludon, going to be able to hit with the Dazzling Gleam, making sure that they do go down. But the rest of Garsagose dropping really low here. And it looks like Froy going to give him the Belch to clean that up. Going to also clean up the Wigglytuff. And now they're going to apply even more pressure to this lane. Trying to dunk that 50 over just to give it that break potential. So really good play overall by Los del Segundo A. Garsagose had the right idea of popping everything and trying to get a couple picks. But it's starting to get a little out of hand right now.
And this is that thing that you just like probably hate when you're facing off a Greedent, right? You know, you see the berry belly flop hit right on the goal. You got that score shield, you got that buddy barrier. You're pretty much not going to stop it, even though with most other Pokemon, you seem like you would stop such a thing. And so that Greedent just on a mad tear. Froy, you are also a monster, man. And I obviously use the monster term just in the best way possible, because this is just beastly play here from Los del Segundo. I mean, Garsagose, it was looking very good for them in that really first almost 5 minutes, you know, and you even saw like level disparities. You saw a lot of different things that looked like it could favor Garsagose, and Los del Segundo is showing you like, hey, Dr. Kendo, stop saying this whole thing about like us being comfortable with our victory. You know, we're still good, you know? So they definitely have the levels, they have the scores, you know, this is just massive.
Yeah, and you see what the double Dreadnought Secure has done for Los del Segundo. You see the level disparity, you see how well they are pushing in, and how much damage it's going to take in order to really clean this up. So, yeah, if you're Garsagose, I think you have to find a pick. Don't let El Segundo A find a pick. That's the opposite of what you need to do. There you go. They find the Hoopa to start, looking potentially at trying to close up on Rima, but it looks like Rima's going to be able to get out of there. They're looking at Dreadnought now. The burst down, Garsagose is going to lose out on their Lucario, and they are still looking at this, going to be able to get that last Dreadnought for Los del Segundo A, and Garsagose is just on the back line right now. They got to figure out how are they going to get in here to even contest Zapdos.
So you heard it here, that's the final stretch. Could possibly be the final stretch of the match today if Los del Segundo A wins this matchup today. But, ladies and gentlemen, don't count anybody out until it's over. It is not over until it's over, but look at this. Los del Segundo A said, we don't want Garsagose to even have just an attempt at this. I mean, they really did try, I guess, so we shouldn't even say that, but notice now a lot of them very, very full pockets, and it looks like Froy once again going to wait for those goals to bust to go ahead and drop into this bottom goal. Can even just take his time, sit here nice and easy. There's going to be those hundo burgers from everybody on the team. You know, this is a chance where you sometimes would surrender in a game like this, but Garsagose might be thinking, you know, if we do surrender, this literally is the last match of the day. We may try to pull this off, but I mean, you've got a minute left approximately, and look at this nasty slow bro there just trying to stop you, put up rat resistance, and I think it did, so yep, there it is. That's going to be the GG.
Yeah, it's just overall, like, pressure coming out from Los del Segundo A, and I do think that there needed to be something else that allowed them to survive these fights. Because, like, yes, they have the damage, yes, they have the crowd control potential, but because of things like not being able to survive the fight at the end, it is really tough for a team like Garsagose in order to really lock down and apply the pressure that they wanted to this game. So taking the victory here at, you know, Victory Road Unite Clash number 8. Congrats, and hope to see you on future tournaments as well.
That's right. That's going to be an ending score of 798 to 178 right there. And it's just, again, wonderful team. I think Kanashi and I have now overanalyzed this. Maybe we can say it one last time. It's that combination of the element of surprise while also having the old standbys that work really well. And really just pulling this victory off. I mean, Froy, look at this, 218 with that greeting. I mean, the scores came in at all the times that I'm sure Garsagose really just felt the pain of them all. You know, it's just like, no, you're going to score another 50 after you just broke our bottom goal. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's as Kanashi said, those are your champions. We're doing Unite Clash like every month. Get on their YouTube channel, get these highlights, get on their Twitter, especially good resource for getting the schedule and up to the second posts about these events. You know, it's just an absolute pleasure. And so Kanashi and I are so grateful to be able to do this. I am now finally going to shut up. Thank you.